sound, video, picture. Let's check it. Hopefully it's all good. We have a lot of things to cover, moving very, very fast. So hope you guys are catching up. 1 second, let me just double check. Live. Okay. Okay. Okay, just take some time to load, and I just want to see how many people we have on the call as well. All right. Let me just check the sound one more time. Perfect. Okay, everything's working. Meta Nomad, what's up? Okay, so I do see everything. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we have a lot of things to cover. And Federal, good morning. And let's just start. Although we don't, we don't have everybody yet. So first things first. There are little updates, minor updates, but still important to the Ghost Eye. So keep updating your Ghost Eye through source update.sh. If I'm not mistaken, that's the command. It's going to take you 5 minutes to run your Ghost Eye, and then you'll be able to open it up. So these are the minor bug fixes, but also some interesting things. So nominated tab, move to wallet. So you just do Shift, and I'll demonstrate in a second. You can now rename the account Shift R. So if you have the account under one name Shift R, you'll be able to rename it. You'll be able to bond now from the wallet tab as well by Shift B. And Shift I just gives you lots of information about that specific wallet. So let me just go ahead and demo this really quickly, and then we'll move to the next one. So here, 1 second. So here, so I can just go ahead and do Shift R. I can rename new name for this account. Boom, escape. I can do Shift N, and that gonna give me lots of information. I mean, this still needs to be corrected to some extent, but you can see the commission for nominators. You also see the points at this moment compared to the total points. You also see how much has been bonded. So check this out. So 74, right? So I'm one of the legacy validators. I have 674. Why? Because we all started with 69, but I earned 5 Casper in the last month and a half. But that's not the case with most other validators. Check this out. So these are new validators. New validators are totally fine because you guys started with 0, essentially had to beg for Casper. And thank you so much for, I'm sorry for, for that word, but keep begging, like keep asking for it every 24 hours if you don't have enough. So 6.9, 79, right? Kind of okay as well. But then check it out. Like this one, I'm not sure who that is, not active. Apparently only 69 Casper. So I don't think that validator was able to claim his or her staking reward. They still have it. But they should claim it, right? So that just shows who's active, who's not active. 69 again, right? So this is actually interesting, right? So somebody bonded more than 6.9, but less than 69. So somebody took it out. So that's perhaps the most active validator. This one. Well, overall, right? So overall, interesting. So this one is also inactive, right? One of the legacy validators not active. That's another one. So 4 not active validators who started with. And that's why for some of you guys it's difficult to ask for Casper, difficult to get Casper therefore. But just keep asking, right? Like keep asking. We'll give it to you one way or another. All right. So that's pretty much it with this one. Now, what I would like to proceed with is let's go back to here. So Ethereum Sepolia Faucet. Let me just give some information regarding it and what's the point, right? So the point of this faucet is not for the community necessarily to drain the funds, although you guys can do this, no problem. the major point is to make sure that we are able to rank compared to other faucets. So again, this has been launched Monday or Tuesday last week. Over the course of the last 10 days or 15 days or whatever the date, we got, let me tell you how many, we received 233 requests. 233, that's quite a lot. That's like roughly 20 per day. There have been spikes. I think we got up to 50 or 60 on one occasion on one day. Now it's slightly lower. But overall, just it's pretty impressive. And again, some of these requests are coming from the community. It's fine. Like if you guys need Sepolia, sure, go for it, right? But this community of ghosties or whales should kind of help replenish the supply. How? In fact, a couple of whales have already done it, and quite significantly. So I think from the whales total, we received about 10 Sepolia. If you are allocating 0.01 Sepolia per person, that is essentially 10 Sepolia is equivalent to 1,000 unique requests going forward. So the requests at this point of time are limited essentially by 24-hour window per address. That's how it's done. Plus, there's a captcha, like a very, very tiny captcha. You can see this on the bottom right there, which kind of not annoying. And yeah, so far so good. The process is still massively manual for the sending. So when you request or when your community members request, there will be slight delay. But the point is not to drive your community to this page, right? Like if you guys have community, don't like, oh, here's a new faucet. Like the best way, you go to Google. You type in, you don't type in Ghost Sepolia faucet. Of course, if you type in Ghost Sepolia faucet, you'll be able to find us. Now we're ranking, thank goodness. Pretty fast actually, because sometimes it takes a couple of weeks, even a month. But nobody is searching for Ghost Sepolia faucet. People are searching for Ethereum Sepolia faucet, and that's what we need to rank for. So for my personal search, that's Chrome, that's Google search, up to page 14. I still do not see the link. It's crazy. I still do not see it. Maybe due to geo, I don't know. I don't see the fucking link. It's been again like, whatever, 10 days, 15 days. So what you should try to find is when you're searching for ETH Sepolia faucet or Ethereum Sepolia faucet, those are the keywords. That's what people are searching for. You go through a search and try to locate our link and then click on that. That's what needs to happen, because that way Google will recognize, oh, people are actually searching for that specific faucet, people actually interacting with it, blah, blah, blah. When you click on it, yeah, go ahead and request it, right? Because, Google is tracking everything, right? How you interact, how users actually interact with the website. So they're trying to fight against bots. But do not direct traffic just to this page. There's no point, right? Like there's no freaking point. Unless this, your community is actual developers who actually need Sepolia, then sure. But chances are that's not the case. So chances are you're just draining funds for no reason. And we need to leave these funds for developers, although we do have a pretty scalable strategy how to replenish the funds. But just to give an idea. This article is going to come up very soon. Well, it's already live, but I think it's going to be like whatever, being ranked and SE optimized. So top 5 no KYC Ethereum faucets. And let me go through them really quickly because I tried them myself yesterday one more time. So obviously that's ours, which is, you just don't need anything. You just go ahead and just request. You just put your address and that's it. Like nothing. Well, and click this checkbox here. That's it. By the way, once we added this checkbox, we got like a pretty significant drop in requests. Chances are there have been some bots before, so now the bots have to click this freaking thing, and it's difficult for them apparently. So that's good though, because we need to isolate the real traffic from the virtual. We don't need some huge numbers of bots, right? Like there's no point. Now the other faucet that is also really interesting is this one, right? It's a very good faucet. It's also no KYC. You need to connect your wallet, which is potentially a slight vulnerability right there. When you're connecting your wallets, to some weird websites, and you can get 0.001 Sepolia ETH daily. So again, that's slightly more questionable, but seems like it's a good faucet. Again, everything's said here. Please do your own research. Nothing is like really recommended outside of the Ghost faucet, right? Everything else we don't know what's on the back end. We didn't check. We don't care for the most part. But this faucet is pretty good. Again, no KYC. However, they give 10 times less Sepolia than we do. Right? That has been the point. Like, because we found like this one, that stands for itself. Last time I checked, they had 0.16 Sepolia, which is enough at their rate for 160 people. After which, I'm not sure how they're going to replenish it. Probably they do have some type of way, whatever. But in any case, that's another one that is also respectable, at least. Now let's go here. Alchemy. So some community, some whales mentioned they do, use alchemy. Guys, we also use alchemy, right? Like we all used alchemy a lot. We keep using it as well. But alchemy. So what happened was they dropped the request. So this number is not real. It's 0.01 Sepolia every 72 hours. That's what you get. Now, what you need to have, though, unfortunately, as a requirement, is you need to have ETH balance of 0.001. This article is still not finalized, like some mistakes. I'll just going over it. Ethereum balance is 0.001. That's required to participate. All right. So now, why do we call it? Is it really no KYC? Well, yeah, kind of, right? But the question is, how are you going to get that balance? If you don't have the balance, you need to go to an exchange. And if you go to KYC exchange, then you're KYC'd immediately, right? Because they can track you by this balance. So you need to go to a non-KYC exchange, take risk, etc. Or you need to have some old funds before this whole thing. So, but once you do have 0.001, which is roughly $2, $3, you can go ahead and claim 0.01 Sepolia ETH every 72 hours. So try to yesterday it worked. Yeah. Now, this one, Google Ethereum, like that's such an oxymoron, but that's happening. So, we're talking about non-KYC, we're talking about Web3, and Google is one of them. It's so freaking bizarre. It means that everybody else is worse than Google. Like all this Web3, all these like Solana fuckers, all these like, whatever, avalanches of the world and polygons of the world can't fucking create a faucet for us. And we all go back to Google. Google, please help us. Like, come on, this is BS, right? Like, but that's the state of Web3. That's the state of Web3. Currently, we need to absolutely freaking change it. It's unacceptable. However, Google is actually one of the best faucets. That's pathetic, but it is what it is. Now here, with Google, you need to have a Gmail account. So for those of you who are in the United States, potentially in European Union, potential Australia, etc., like essentially G20 countries, whatever, you may have no issue creating Gmail account. However, if you are in developing countries, from what I know, Gmail does require a phone verification, which is KYC. So you cannot just create a Gmail account without like leaving your KYC away, such as phone number, etc. That's a problem. If you're in the US, kind of lucky you can just create Gmail account, like just fake one, etc. So once you do have a fake Gmail account or real, whatever, you can then go ahead and claim your thing. Another restriction that we're not sure about is with Google is when you are, say, from emerging country, they do have clarifications, FAQ. They may reject your request for Ethereum Sepolia for whatever reason, in which case you need to get it back. How? By getting a minimum amount of Ethereum in your wallet. Right, so minimum amount of Ethereum has to be located in your wallet for you to ever request this Sepolia thing. Now, I didn't have to have that minimum balance. I was able to just use Gmail. Lucky me. I was, have somebody to set me the Gmail account before, so that kind of set for that one. Now, 0.05 Sepolia ETH. That's what that has been the deal. Just literally like a week ago. Now they dropped it to 0.03, like literally a week ago. Guys, like not a year ago, a week ago, 0.05, now it's 0.03. Not sure for how long. Federal Gmail account does not need a phone number in my country. Beautiful. So in this case, Federal, use Google. Use Google all the way. Just create fake Gmail accounts and just go ahead. But that's pretty freaking pathetic. Like that Google is leading the charts when it comes down to Sepolia testnet. It's crazy. Crazy to me. QuickNode. So QuickNode, another infra type of product, infrastructure, very similar to Alchemy, Infra, etc. Excuse me. So same thing. No KYC required. What's required is a minimum balance of ETH. So while for Gmail, it's not necessarily required, for Alchemy, it is required. QuickNode is also required. You need to have 0.001 ETH. And similarly, how do you get it? Like if you have some old balance, no problem. But if you don't, you need to go to KYC exchange all need to go to take a risk and go to non-KYC exchange. Essentially, contribute 0.001 ETH to your wallet, then you'll be able to claim 0.05 ETH every 12 hours. Actually, not every 24, not daily, but every 12 hours. So you can technically get 0.1. And perhaps quick note at this point of time is the best faucet from perspective of no KYC. Now another one is Chainlink. But for Chainlink, you need to have one link. One link is equivalent to $16, $14 right now. And I'm not sure if you want to invest that. And then they may change the rules. But from what I know, it's 0.5. It's half ETH per day, which is better than anything else so far. But of course, you need to buy that token. So yeah, that's what we have to do. Now this one, number 6. So the article says top 5. You have number 6 again. This is not finalized. We need some work on this yet. But so this one used to be the best one. That used to be the best one. You can still, if you see Haleski and Ephemery, or Ephemery, whatever. So you can still mine these two, Haleski and Ephemery, with some type of no KYC structure. You were able to mine Sepolia as well 2 years ago, even last year, with no KYC. Now you have to do KYC, consisting of getting a Gitcoin passport. You need to get a Gitcoin passport. Your passport of the country is not enough. Gitcoin fucking passport now. You need to get 2 points on that Gitcoin passport to be able to mine free testnet tokens. Fucking pathetic. Fucking pathetic. This is the most popular faucet, I think, to date. Used to be done by this dude who works at Consensus now. Pretty open source. You can fork it. So interesting. Very interesting project. Why the hell did he incorporate this change? Had he not put this Gitcoin passport bullshit, there would pretty much be no need for the faucet of Ghost, because that faucet is great. This faucet is really freaking great. It is amazing. It's great. It's smart. It's interesting. It's creative. It's really that's what the industry needed, and he decided to fuck it up and put the restrictions. Right. Most likely due to some type of funding. Maybe they offered him some type of deal, marketing deal, where they pay money because he's implementing this Gitcoin passport, therefore generating traffic because he has pretty massive traffic. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I do not want to speculate. Everything I'm saying just my assumption. But this is by far the best faucet, and it was totally screwed over by this Gitcoin passport minimum requirement. And hence, once they've done that, and once I've personally learned about that, while despite the fact that Cosmos had the idea for the faucet for the last year or two, this was the breaking point for me personally to say enough is enough. Fuck this Gitcoin passport. It's enough. Literally, it's enough. But yeah, so 230 requests without it ever being ranked on the Google, at least for me. I think some members do see. So when they search for Ethereum, specifically Ethereum Sepolia faucet request, this keyword request, they still, they're able to find. But I'm not able to find. So even with this, I'm doing pretty great. Okay. Now let's move to the final topic of the day, which will take the lion's share of the time. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And this is quite interesting. I know lots of people are away with Denver and some other events, so not on this call. That's kind of a pity. So hope you guys watch this in recording because the topic is actually quite interesting. So we are going to be discussing Ghost DAO. So lots of questions have been regarding, what's the benefit for validators to be a node? Why would I be, what are the compensation? Maybe JV tokens or whatever. What do I get for being a node? Let me say, hey, there are massive advantages. There's an article, I think, of all the benefits of being a validator. Most importantly, all testnet validators will become mainnet validators, and testnet validators will be the only entity that receives the initial allocation of Ghost, of mainnet Ghost. And that's amazing. That's insane. So, but it's difficult. There's so many scam projects in the space. The space takes lots of heat. The Web3 takes lots of heat from Web 2.5. Such as switch to Solana, Circle, Tether. In the news, we see all, even the White House, right? I believe there was a tweet this week. It's such an oxymoronic statement. So the representatives of the projects of Web3, quote unquote, Web3 projects came to the White House to meet with Trump and Trump's administration. And the CEOs of these projects came over. And the question is like, if you are a decentralized project, how the fuck do you have a CEO? How is that possible? Like, it's just like beyond me, right? Like, listen, if you're Web 2.5, fine. So it's a shit show, right? Like, I mean, I hope administration sees through this stuff, right? But it's a fucking shit show. I mean, and we're all like, let's bring a representative. There's no CEO of Monero. Bring a representative of Monero. Who's the CEO of Bitcoin? Who is it? Correct, right? Who's the CEO? There's no CEO, right? So let's bring a representative of Bitcoin. Even in Ethereum, like Vitalik came over as a leader potential of the leadership team or the leader of the DAO, whatever, but he's not a CEO. That cannot be said about Solana. That cannot be said about Link. That cannot be said about Tether. That cannot be said about Circle and all the others. It's crazy. Even Avalanche has a CEO. It's crazy. Web3. Entering a Web3 era. So, I don't know, the CEO of BGC on it as well is interesting. Yeah, how to rig the game. Exactly. Like, right? It's oxymoronic. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. And we suggested bring Uniswap, bring Monero, bring SushiSwap, bring Olympus DAO, right? Like, bring those guys. How about that? How about you bring those people? Bring Bitcoin rep, even Bitcoin Cash. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys sued him for life because he didn't pay taxes, allegedly. I'm sorry, Roger Ver. Crazy, fucking crazy. Yet you bring in all these other fuckers to, whatever. That's the decision. Whatever. So far, of course, looks like a shit show. However, back to the validators, like, why would they, why would they join? And it's difficult. They see all that stuff. Like, they see, what's happening with Web 2.5, the scams, and how would the validators be able to quickly assess whether Ghost is a good project to stick with? Right? That's kind of the question, right? Now, we're not trying to optimize for validators, like, just to bring them in. We have a way how to do this. We are saving this for the mainnet. We already tested the funnel, and that will work on attracting additional validators when the time is right. However, we need sticky community, and we need some type of interesting, like, intro that is, self-communicating and self-persuading. What could that be? Well, the Ghost DAO price action. So price action tends to solve lots of questions. And while it's not going to be a mainnet price action, but the testnet price action is going to be not equally, but almost equally impressive. How do we know? Well, first of all, because it is freaking impressive. And secondly, because we tried that 3 years ago. The project exists for 4 years now. So, like, we are in the space for a long, specifically with Ghost, for a long time. In September, it's actually going to be roughly 5 years of my involvement with Ghost. Some type of involvement with Ghost. A very long project, and long-term project. And the price action of Ghost DAO on the testnet is interesting. You guys will experience it. And we had a very lively and vivid discussion on Wales Wednesdays this Wednesday, specifically regarding Ghost DAO, and that has been by far the most active discussion. I think Mr. Adike was on it, and Federal, maybe you listened to it, but lots of comments, lots of interest, lots of emotion, which is good. Lots of attempts to really dive to the truth of what the hell is Ghost DAO and how does it work. And yes, we've been discussing a pretty sensitive topic of the swap of GNV to P-Ghost potentially. Like, that's a pretty sensitive, but that's Ghost DAO related. That's a Ghost DAO related topic. And since we're launching Ghost DAO very soon, in a week, 2, maybe 2.5 weeks, the first version of it is going to be a cascade of launches. So we're going to start with the first version, and then version 2, version 3, very similar to how we're doing with the chain, just to bring live back into Ghost DAO. It's important for those of you guys who were not around for 3 years, and I think from the commentators that I'm seeing currently, I don't think any of you guys, Federal, Meta Nomad, or Mr. Adike, I don't think you guys observed physically goes down. Like, right, like you came after. Some people did, but not you guys. So specifically for you guys and for everybody else who's watching the recording, and like very, very important, like what's gonna happen. So first of all, how to locate DAO. Federal, I've been in Go since November 2021. Can't believe it's that long. Exactly. Oh, so you've been part. So you've seen Ghost DAO. So you've seen that crazy freaking thing. So how to go here? So you go DAO.ghostchain.io. This website is available. It's been there before. When you click on app, it's coming soon because well, we need to redeploy. The smart contract. So smart contracts on Rinkibi testnet. Well, those of you guys who remember, that's Ethereum testnet, now deprecated, no longer possible. The reason why we then did not deploy because we wanted to deploy on Gurley, but like, oh, Gurley testnet is also going to be deprecated very soon. Ojan, you've seen it. I think you've seen it. Yeah, I think you've seen it. Yep. So Gurley was deprecated soon. So we're like, they're not going to do Gurley. And then there was a question, is it Gurley or Sepolia testnet? Like, and Rinkibi was deprecated. Now, by the way, just a quick side note, Ghost Chain, for example, the bridge demo has been launched on Rinkibi and Ropsten. Those two, Ropsten and Rinkibi. So there was a bridge, not with validators, but like just explaining the smart contract functionality with the Gatekeeper smart contract. That stuff has also been demoed to the council members, also to other potential upcoming council members, and back then to the community. But that was even before the Ghost DAO. So we have lots of products live, and because of all these testnet changes, we just never redeploy stuff. Because whatever, because why should we, right? And then we got busy with Ghost NFT, got some adoption, then we got busy with Ghost auction, right? Got some interesting feedback, and then we're like, oh, you know what? Let's switch back to Ghost Chain. So the train of thought. Okay. So again, how to get here? DAO.ghostchain.io. That's how you get here. And so far, doc's not available, app not available. It's going to be available in the next, again, 1, 2, 2.5 weeks, the first version. But what's available is the light paper. So once you click on it, I already did. So you're going to have a light paper. The light paper is updated as of 2024. There have been certain changes with P-Ghost. Those changes have been implemented in the light paper. So it's a pretty updated light paper. And, the favorite quote, any idiot can make money, keeping money very few can do. Because anybody can make money, sure, but inflation related away, taxes, thieves, banks, shitty investments, and blah 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 blah. In developed countries is pensions, right? Like 401ks, great concept. It works until it doesn't, and maybe it will keep working for the next 50 years. Who the fuck knows? Probably doesn't. Same thing happens with Social Security, for example, specifically in the United States. And Elon Musk is, and it's been said for years that it's a Ponzi, being filled with inflationary supply of dollar. Whenever that stops, if that stops, then collapse is imminent. So, and that's what he said, right? That's what Mark said. Keeping money very few can do. Yeah, you can make money, very difficult, but keeping money is even more difficult. I don't think he referred that it's easy. No, it's difficult, but just keep in mind it's even more difficult. And when it comes down to Ghost DAO, the reason why that has been the introduction is the way to get to 1 billion market cap back in the day. So it took Bitcoin about 4 years to get there. Olympus did this within 6 months, and then forks of Olympus did this even faster. And this data is from 2022. So Wonderland took 2 months to get there, and Klima. Now they repurposed to something else. Klima, I think, was live on actually Solana, I think. So it went up to 1 billion market cap within 7 days. Crazy. Real situation. Wonderland, what happened to Wonderland? Wonderland was a fork of Olympus on Avalanche. And at that point of time, Wonderland was 95% of entire TVL and transactional volume of Avalanche blockchain. 95 fucking percent. 95%. I need to say this one more time. So when they had the event in Barcelona in 2021, 2022, and Avalanche, right? So Avalanche was inviting all the dApps and stuff who are live on Avalanche, and the entire floor, everybody was just talking about Wonderland. There was nothing else, literally nothing else. We are familiar. We personally know a couple of dexes. On Avalanche, of course, since then now Uniswap took over, SushiSwap took over, but there were some native dApps on Avalanche, they didn't get nearly any publicity. It was all about Wonderland because that was the only dApp that's how cool that is, right? That's how Ghost DAO could be interesting because Ghost DAO is essentially, we're not a fork. So what's the definition of fork and being inspired? Fork is guys from Wonderland literally just took the code, forked it, renamed everything, and changed logos. And instead of Olympus DAO said Wonderland, and that's it. How stuff works, the CEO, quote, of Wonderland said himself he does not know how it works. He just forked it. That's it. Now, Klima DAO was doing something interesting. They were like, oh, we're Olympus, but we are like CO2 friendly, some bullshit, like some stuff, whatever. They also forked the code. They just took the code and just forked it. Now, we are inspired, meaning we looked into the code base, looked through the white paper, studied it. If I say that I completely understand Olympus DAO, I'll be very much lying, despite, again, researching Olympus DAO. It's a super fucking smart, like whoever created this, Zeus, Zeus and the team. I don't think they are with the project at this point of time. But those guys who they created, like freaking geniuses. And I think that after Bitcoin and potential after Ethereum, Olympus is the most innovative project in Web3. Maybe Uniswap V2 was and MakerDAO. Those two were like as creative as Olympus. Olympus is absolutely freaking genius, just super genius, and I do not fully understand how it works to the date, despite studying this for quite some time now. So that's what we're looking at, right? So that that's the playground we could get to, some. It's not about 1 billion market cap from perspective of, oh, that's a huge number. It's more like, oh, we're gonna be recognizable. Yeah, we could be seen, right? Like people can start talking about us, and we want to see this again. How much interaction we can get from the testnet, on Sepolia. Now, so DeFi 1.0, DeFi 2.0, that's cool. What's needed to be seen, and let me share another screen for 1 second, and then I'll go back to the light paper. If you guys have any questions, please shoot your questions now. That's very interesting, and that's very important, these questions. Also, please shoot them down in the whales. Okay, so this is the tokenomics that we partly discussed on Whales Wednesday. That's very important, and we need to start discussing it in more detail. So this is Ghost NFT architecture, how Ghost NFT was connected with Ghost DAO. That was the whole point of launching Ghost NFT. It's not about JML. It's not about NFT. It's not about the collection. It's about the integration of Ghost NFT with Ghost DAO that will take place at a later point of time. However, before that takes place, and it's partly implemented already through this, JMV swaps, the integration. So instead of NFT minter, imagine this is just a user of Ghost DAO. So he or she will send DAI stablecoin to a DEX and get eGhost in return. That eGhost will then be sent to the Ghost DAO Treasury smart contract to receive sGhost. Why? sGhost is a token, is essentially a staking Ghost. So you stake Ghost at some crazy APY. It's going to be some massive APY, not 20%, not 50%. It's going to be like 1,000%. You will see this on Ghost. This is going to be some crazy fucking APY. Mr. IDK, coming into the event, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to launch it before your event. But if you're able to, will be a great demo for you specifically for your circle of people. But if you're able to capture their attention, you'll be able to demo the Ghost DAO to them literally a week or two after the event. And maybe they will find it even more interesting. But it's going to be crazy freaking APY. And the crazy freaking APY is reflected in sGhost. So if you just have an eGhost and you're not staking it, it's a problem. You're going to be losing on staking. So you need to quickly, once you obtain eGhost, quickly stake it. It's easy. And then eGhost will be a rebase token, meaning that the eGhost supply will be matching sGhost supply every 8 hours, which is every era. Era in case of Ghost DAO is going to be roughly 8 hours, every staking period. Now, later on, what you could do, you could stake, and that's pretty much it. Like if you have sGhost, you're good to go. You're good to go. But if you want to proceed further, what you could do, you can then wrap your sGhost into Ghost. Now that Ghost is going to be a Ghost token on an EVM blockchain, on Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, blah, 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 blah. That Ghost token then can be bridged to the Ghost chain. So once the Ghost DAO is launched, we're not going to have the bridge yet. We're just going to have the Ghost DAO. And then we'll slowly be upgrading the Ghost DAO, and then we'll be introducing the bridge. Blah, blah, blah. So we'll have like 3 separate products. Ghost Chain, Ghost DAO, and the bridge. Consider them as three separate products. Once the bridge is available, the nodes will be able to get Casper not by begging this in the whales, which is pathetic. And guys, I do apologize. I do apologize, for this specific kind of structure today. And the reason why that structure exists is to build the community, right? To help, to help all of us get more friendly and send stuff to each other. That's how it's supposed to be. But once we have Ghost DAO in the bridge, no longer do you need to beg for Casper. All you have to do is go to the faucet, get dye. We'll create a faucet for that. You get dye, and then with that test dye, you go ahead and buy eGhost. Then you wrap that into Ghost, and then you bridge it. And once you bridge it, you have enough balance to become a validator. So we're going to replicate the literal experience of how new nodes will be upgraded to validators on the mainnet. Everything, the entire structure, will be fully implemented on the testnet, so we know how this operates, so we can test it for the bugs, for the inconsistencies, for the user experience, etc. For the tokenomics, for the game theory, etc. So that's how this works. Any questions on this one? Federal is asking, is it one DAI for every GMV or one DAI for your entire GMV to get eGhost? So at first, one eGhost is equal to one DAI. And council members do know that because the mathematically eGhost can never drop below $1. It cannot possibly ever drop below a freaking $1. It's mathematically impossible. It's not because we have some algorithmic stuff. No, it's just pure backend. So one eGhost is always backed by one DAI, always. However, you will see with V2 DEX how price action of eGhost is going to be freaking berserk. It's going to be crazy. You're not going to be able to obtain one eGhost for one DAI. You'll be able to do this in the first minute. And then it's going to fly. It's going to go to freaking $10. It's going to go to $20. It's going to be crazy. Lorenzo, good morning. Good morning. Absolutely. It's fine. We're all late today, I think. Lots of people late. And Mr. Adike, really appreciate you joining in as well. Thank you so much. We know how busy you are this weekend. Okay, so Mr. Adike, what does wrap as Ghost mean exactly? Yeah, so you have eGhost tokens, and eGhost tokens will be increasing in its supply sporadically based on the APY. And due to that, you need to stake your eGhost to sGhost to make sure that you don't lose your staking rewards, right? So with sGhost, you'll keep that. But now, why would you want to wrap it? Once you wrap your sGhost into Ghost token, now you become a member of the Ghost DAO governance. So council members are governing Ghost Chain. However, Ghost token holders will be governing Ghost DAO. Now the question is, what if I have Ghost tokens on Ethereum, and then I also have Ghost token on Avalanche? Let's assume I have, let me paraphrase the example. I have Ghost token on Ethereum, but I do not have Ghost token on Avalanche. Am I part of the governance on Avalanche? No, you're not. No, you're not. You need to have, a token on a Ghost DAO on which you want to be part of the governance. Now, why do you need governance situation? Well, you are locking your eGhost supply and you simultaneously locking your sGhost supply, right? As a corollary. So therefore, what happens is you just locked out your supply and therefore you're minimizing selling pressure. So you're maximizing buying pressure. That's great for the protocol, and protocol needs to reward you for that. How? Governance. What do you do as part of governance? As part of governance, you are able to make decisions on the APY, to make decisions on the timeline of the treasury, to make decisions on where the treasury will be restaking the supply to make sure the treasury keeps growing, and therefore the backend of eGhost keeps growing. So those type of you also will be able to govern the introduction of bonds, whether direct bonds or indirect bonds or reverse bonds, which is part of the Ghost DAO essential mechanics. So lots of governance structures. That's what Olympus was doing, but with Ghost, you're also able to use that Ghost token to bridge into Ghost DAO, into Ghost Chain. So when you bridge Ghost token from Ghost DAO into Ghost Chain, what happens is you're not only staking your Ghost token on the Ghost DAO, but you also staking Ghost coin on the Ghost chain as a validator. So you get in double staking. So you're staking as a validator or nominator, and you also staking on the Ghost DAO. Name me another blockchain that has that. Nothing. It's fucking crazy. It's creative. It's amazing, and it will be my pleasure to tell. Like it's just, personally blowing my mind. Federal as Ghost means staked Ghost. Correct. Lorenzo, we need to stake whole e-Ghost we have left. You don't have to stake it, but if you don't, chances are you're going to be diluted by massive APY. So it's in your interest as a user to stake it, but you don't have to do anything. It's every single user makes their own decisions. So great questions. So the protocol is completely autonomous. Every user makes their own decisions. And the idea is that the protocol does have proper incentives to incentivize users to do certain things, and the users will actually be doing these things. And when the users do those things, the protocol wins. So quickly going to go through the game theory. This is not the last time we discuss Ghost DAO. I think that requires a lot more in-depth research. But what I would like you guys to do is to please read the light paper. The sooner you do this, the better. Please read the light paper, familiarize yourself, and you don't get to understand everything. And that's not the point. The point is just to gather questions, right? There's going to be some basic questions first, there's going to be more in-depth questions, and then more in-depth. And then you're going to be interacting with Ghost DAO the first time, and you have no fucking clue why it's working like this. But then with the second version, you'll have a better clue, and with the third version, you'll be able to be articulate and explain how it works. So very, very important to follow the process completely. What's interesting, right? So let's go through the Olympus DAO really quickly, and the game mechanics. Federal is saying, I cannot wait to stake 5,000 Ghost. Exactly, that's the spirit. So the introduction of bonds is what made the Olympus DAO so special. So the famous 3,3 model, and Federal says, I've read the white paper before, 2022. Yeah, it didn't change much. To be honest, just like little changes here and there. So game theory goes like this. You have 3 ways. Oh, let me just go back first to questions. So Mr. IDK, may I suggest and explain the video at some point? Happy to help make that. Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Would be great. Especially when Ghost DAO is out. So you can actually take screenshots of stuff, right? So you can take screenshot of how Ghost DAO works, and just show that like that. Absolutely, would be great. I mean, last video was great. I'm not going to share details, Mr. IDK, but you know what I know. You know what I mean. Like, last video was amazing. But I'll reread it again. Blah, blah. I have learned I have 1,200 ghosts, and I'm gonna stake them all. Yes, sir. You should. Okay, so check this out. Game theory. 3,3, right? That's the model. 3,3. So there are 3 options for the user: stake, bond, or sell. Stake what? Bond what? Sell what? Stake e-Ghost. Bond, DAI, essentially, or sell e-Ghost. So there are 2 ways how you can enter the protocol. You can either buy e-Ghost on the DEX, as I showed on the previous slide in PowerPoint. That's the first option, in which case you do have the protocol. So if there are 2 users, right? So, like user 1 and user 2, right? And that does extrapolate to, to the mass and mass, right? So that same protocol can have 1,000 people. It's going to be the same exact type of dynamics. So let's assume we all have two people. So if 2 people both buy, right? The first person buys and the second person buys. So it's going to be beneficial for the protocol and for both of them. Why? Because this guy is pushing the price, this guy's pushing the price up. Conversely, if both sell, this guy pushes the price down, this guy pushes the price down. So it's worse for both. So it's 3,3 positive, -3, -3. Right? So they counteract each other. So so whatever. That's Now, if this person buys and this person sells, it's -1 for the buyer and 1 for the seller, because the seller is selling his liquidity to the buyer, essentially, right? That's how this works. So the seller is exiting. The seller is exiting due to the buyer. So the buyer is kind of losing, the seller is kind of winning. But what changes is with the bond, and that's what makes. So essentially, like if we only had buy, sell, buy, you would have this quadrant, this quadrant, this quadrant, that quadrant. That would just be essentially net zero for the protocol. So the protocol would just be net zero. But the bond changes it all. So what bond does is bond gives you a discounted offer to purchase eGhost. Lorenzo is asking a question. I have a question. If any user's node shut down from any problem, is that user out from the project? I have any solution for him? Okay, we'll discuss the node shutdown a little later. So I'll respond to that question about the node. So with the bonding, let's assume the price today of Ghost is $100, but the bond is offering 20% discount. So I'll be able to purchase eGhost with 20% discount, but there's a caveat. I'll get my access to the eGhost only within 5 days. So within 5 days, the price of eGhost drops below $80, I'll lose. So I take a gamble, right? So I'm essentially buying an options contract. The options contract says this: I'm able to purchase something 20% at a 20% discount compared to today's price, but I'm only going to be able to get my supply of eGhost within 5 days, meaning after 5 days. So that's a gamble, right? So will the Ghost drop by 20% in the next 5 days? Yes or no? So that's an optionality. And that creates a really, really interesting dynamic where the stake, like if I'm just buying and bonding, it's beneficial for both because we're both buying it, right? In fact, for the bonder, it's beneficial. Why? Because the bonder is buying at a discount and then the buyer keeps pushing the price even higher. So the buyer does not get benefit as much as the bonder, but they still get both benefit. It's just bonder gets a massively better benefit because it was a discounted price pushed higher by the buyer. And same thing here, right? Bond. And then what's interesting is when they both bond, and I think that's actually a mistake that we need to correct. I think it's 1-1, right? Let me see actually. Yeah, it's good that we spotted this mistake now after 3 years because nobody checked it, right? So let me see the bond. Yeah, the bond is supposed to be 1-1, not 1-3, 1-1. Why is it 1-1? Because while they both, so we'll correct this, right? So it's supposed to be 1-1 here. So while both are buying at a discount, both are still pushing the price up. So they're getting minimum benefit, but still getting the benefit. So because of this bonding, because of this cross, Olympus DAO is getting this massive freaking upside potential. MetaNomad is asking, so you lose the premium? Yeah, so you don't lose the premium. Let's assume the price is $100 when you're buying it, and you can purchase today for 20% discount. So you're able to purchase at $80 per eGhost, and that's what you do. So now you obtained eGhost at $80, but within 5 days the price dropped to $60. So you're just down $20. You don't lose the premium. You just lost on essentially the price of the market is below your strike price, and you're just losing on that. So you're still keeping your eGhost, but you're just losing. Conversely, if you're purchasing today, the price is $100 and you're introducing about 20%. So now you're able to buy it at $80, right? And then the price within 5 days goes up to $160. You still purchase at $80. Now you just doubled your money because it went up to $160. So as opposed to essentially buying off the market, 100 to 160, that's 60% upside, you can purchase at 80 and capture the 100% upside. So it's just a big upside, right? So that's how it works. But that's a great question. The reason why you're asking for premium is because you're thinking options. It's not like options, but it's an optionality, right? It's probably more like a debenture credit or something. It's probably that type of instrument, like if you really think about it. Or maybe futures contract. Probably futures contract is even a more accurate description. Okay, cool. So cool. Cool story. But what about Ghost DAO for Ghost? How is that different? How is Ghost improving the Olympus DAO model? Well, we introduced bridging. And now with bridging, we're not 3,3, we're 4,4. Why? So same thing applies, right? As you can see, bond is 1,1, 1,3, same thing, same everything, right? Nothing changes except for this new cross situation here. What changed? What changed is the fact that users are incentivized to bridge. Why? Because of double staking. So sure, you can purchase eGhost on Ghost DAO, stake it to sGhost, wrap that to Ghost, and just keep it on Ethereum. Absolutely. And you'll be keeping that 100% APY, 1,000%, whatever the APY. You'll be massively getting the APY. That's cool. But what happens if you bridge that? If you bridge that, Now you also can become a validator nominator simultaneously and earn validator APY, essentially staking APY inside of Ghost Chain. So double staking. Now, what and how does it help the protocol if you bridge? Well, if you bridge, you are removing significant supply from, well, locking, you're not removing, but you are locking significant supply of eGhost on EVM. Thus, the selling pressure disappears. Thus, the buying pressure appears. Thus, it's more beneficial for the protocol and for yourself, and more people join. Makes sense, right? So that's how this works. And yes, of course, there are some vulnerabilities, or rather neutral scenarios where one person is bridging, another person is selling. So if I'm bridging and somebody wants to sell, they'll be using my liquidity to sell. So I'm bridging that liquidity, I'm removing the selling pressure, and somebody's leaving, kind of using my liquidity that I just placed for the bridge. They're exiting from Ghost Chain to the EVM and then selling selling that specific supply. So it's a neutral scenario, and here's also a neutral scenario. However, outside of these two neutral scenarios, all the other scenarios with the bridging are super fucking positive for the protocol. Because again, if I'm bridging and somebody is buying, right, I'm significantly removing supply, and this person who is buying is pushing the price for myself and also for himself. So I do have the opportunity then to exit at a much, much higher price because that person using his liquidity because he just purchased it. Same thing here, right? Now for bonding and bridging, that's 1-1 because both are benefiting, because while this person bonding is purchasing at a discount and benefiting himself slightly, the bridger is locking liquidity and also benefiting slightly, but it's still net positive for the protocol. So but if that sounds like, like gibberish, please read the light paper. It's 28 pages. Like, don't read for the sake of reading. Don't just like, oh, I've read it. Like, actually try to understand. Because again, nobody corrected this thing, so I don't think lots of people read it, right? Like I just sighed because okay, we need to correct this one. It's 1,1. But right, like try to really understand, because we tried to explain every single scenario. So every single cell of this thing is explained, right? So like every single one, where is it? 4,4 model. So we explain why, like every single one of these cells is what it is. Okay. And then what happens, like when I'm going to go through the slide paper, then what happens is we can expand this model to 7,7, 10,10. How? Because we can do, Ethereum Binance, right? So it's going to be 3,3 on Ethereum, 3,3 on Binance, but it's also going to have a bridge in between, right? So then if we add another network, it's going to be there for 10,10, right? Because it's going to be 3,3 on Ethereum, 3,3 on Binance, 3,3 on Avalanche, plus the bridge. So it's 10,10. Right, so it's 4,4, 7,7, 10,10, 14,14, etc. No, 13,13, etc. 16,16, etc. And the reason why that's interesting is because for the model risk allocation, right? So there are some negative scenarios that exist for both protocols, like -3, -3. The question is, this -3, what percentage of it is it from the perspective of the total gains? So let me just go back here, just kind of summarize this really quickly. So see how in 3,3 model, -3, -3 represents this one quadrant significantly out of 9. So 1/9 times this negative, right? So if you calculate the rough kind of impact of the protocol, this is 1/9. However, with 4,4, even the worst case scenario is 1 out of 16th. Well, let me just go back here. Where's 4,4? Well, whatever. Like if you like, yeah, 4,4. But like for example, for the 7,7 model, we'll have 49 cells, of which 4 are going to be like negative. So it's 4 divided by 49. And if you do the math, you'll figure out that the more chains we approach, the more chains we deploy on, the -3 will be in every single chain. But as percentage of the total number of options, that percentage is going to be leading, like essentially diminishing to 0, right? That's what's going to happen. So we need to deploy more protocols to make sure that, now it's 4, like for example, here it's going to be 4 out of 49, right? And then here it's going to be 9 out of 100. And it's going to be dropping more and more and more and more. So as more chains are deployed, the more this negative scenario is being diluted compared to all the positive scenarios. And that's kind of what the light paper is about. Yeah, like this like model distribution payout, the reason why it's high, 150% in theory compared to Olympus. Not that Olympus is bad. Olympus is great. It's just that we have bridging. And we're able to add this additional functionality, just enable to upgrade the existingly genius model of Olympus. That's what's happening. So please read this light paper. Let me respond to the questions, and we'll be done. Nomad, what's the risk of the community running the price and dump it versus users using the protocol bridge for its benefits? So that's a great freaking question, and that's the simulation that I would love to do again. In 2022, Kitsune, I gotta isolate him, helped us test the model of dumping everything. And when he dumped it, so the price went up from $1 to I think $5 million per token. $5 million per token, not market cap, per token. $5 million per token. I have screenshots of that. We definitely have some records on Ringkeeper for that. And then when Kitsune was selling, he was literally dumping the market, like doing -3. Due to the bonding, the goes down never dropped below $3. So because by that point, because what happens is the treasury is earning, no matter what the user is doing, buying, selling, bonding, any single action that the user is doing, the treasury is earning because of protocol owned liquidity, because treasury holds the pair of DAI Ghost, significant majority of that on the DEX. So when you buy or sell or trade that pair, there is a commission fee. So 90% of that transactional fees goes back to the treasury. So the treasury is earning money that way. There are other ways how the treasury is earning money. So the treasury is always earning money. And all that money is split amongst all the holders of eGhost. Right? So there have been so many transactions and there have been so many bonds that the minimum price no longer $1 at that point of time when Kitsune was like dumping it. I think I was dumping it too. I think the team was dumping it, but Kitsune was really helping us dump it. So when we were all dumping it, it went down only to $3, not to $1, because it earns so much money. The treasury earns so much fucking money. So the treasury is able to sustain $3 conversion per token, even when everybody literally exited. That has been the test. Now, I would love to see the test with more people this time, with more whales this time. That's a great question, man. Nomad, like amazing question. Thank you. And of course, yeah, people can absolutely, just bank run scenario when people exiting, and we do describe the bank run scenario. That's an important scenario. It's somewhere. 1 second. It was somewhere here. In any case, but it's definitely in the light paper somewhere. The bank run. Okay. But that's a great question. Okay, so you already replied to my question. The more change, the better. Okay, so boom. So we got that. And Lorenzo, let me go back to your question. And we'll be done after that. So the question is, if the node is, so if any user's node shut down from any problem, is that user out from the project? They have any solution for him after his node shut down? So if your node is shut down for less than 4 hours, like roughly for 3 hours within an era, so for 3 hours out of 4, if it's still active for 1 out of 4, it's going to be fine. You're not going to be even slashed. Now, if you're inactive for pretty much like the entire 4-hour time frame, you will be slashed. What happens is you have a balance of, let's assume, 100 ghosts. The slashing, let's assume, is going to be like, there's a formula for it, but let's assume it's going to be 10%. So now you'll have 90 ghosts and 10 ghosts are slashed. Now 10 ghosts go to the treasury. They don't go to the treasury immediately. You still have those 10 ghosts in your wallet. They've been frozen. You just can't use it. So you can only transact with 90 ghosts. Now, what you can do within a week, within a month, you can go to the treasury, go to the governance body in Ghost, which will be comprised of validators, as well as council members. And we'll say, hey, like you can appeal and say, hey, listen, like I had electricity issues, guys. I didn't mean it. Sorry, like I really didn't mean it. Like it's, it will, it's not going to happen again, or it will happen again, but like I'll try to, accommodate whatever. And then you have an opportunity to get your 10 ghosts back. If your case is appealing, and of course it's going to be like trial and error, how to appeal, blah, blah. We don't know for sure. Like we'll be deciding as a community how to do this. But there are huge chances to get your slashing back, definitely at first. If you are a repeat offender, a repeat inactive offender, then of course, like you're not going to get your stuff back. But if, let's say, you've been like validating for 3 years and like, suddenly for a week you just got out because like, something happened, God forbid, in your country, in your, in your home, for your internet, ISP provider, whatever, then of course, you will be getting your funds back. Now, if you are slashed, your node is frozen, therefore your node is inactive. All you have to do is just reactivate it, and then in the next era, meaning in the next 24 hours, your node is going to be back up, and you will be able to earn staking rewards again. Now, let's assume you have 100 ghosts, 10 ghosts got slashed, now you have 90 ghosts. Next era, within the next 24 hours, you'll be able to stake 90 ghosts. The other 10 are frozen and not being staked while you are appealing to get them back. If you lose the appeal and the 10 ghosts don't go back to you, they just go back to the treasury, they just go to the treasury, and then treasury decides to allocate it to whatever. Maybe burn them, maybe send them to validators, split them equally, maybe to active validators, like do whatever, like they'll be deciding what to do with that supply. Great question. Okay, if we have no questions, then on this positive note, let's end the call. Again, I think GhostDAO the intro has been very, very active. You guys like immediately got interested. Wait for the fucking deployment. Like, please, like, be ready. And if you don't have Sepola ETH, go ahead and claim it through our faucet. I'll see you guys next week.